So, good morning, everyone, and namaste. I welcome you all to this particular session. I am Dr. Suryanarayana Raju S, Principal, Kite Engineering College, Rajahmundry, Andhra Pradesh, India. On behalf of our management and institution, I welcome you all to this very important student exclusive web talk, Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas, converting challenges as opportunities. This particular web talk is absolutely aimed for students, but at the same time, and it is also very important for my teacher colleagues also. So I welcome you all to this particular web talk. Another important thing we should recognize here is, and what is the motivation for me to just organize this particular web talk is, I want to inspire the students to the maximum extent in such a way that they can obviously try to change all your what you call challenges as opportunities. One more thing is, we all know that it is a great profound that India is a country of youth. So in case we're able to empower the youth, it is nothing but empowering our nation. So this is the fundamental concept behind this particular web talk amidst COVID-19. So in this particular talk, I'm going to discuss on what are the very important steps the students are supposed to manage or to take at this particular juncture, so that any kind of challenges they are going to face during this COVID or even post-COVID, or any kind of situations they are going to face, and they should be ready to face all these things. For this purpose, I am coming out with 20 important points which are very, very essential for making the students to sensitize, to adapt, from three very, very special and exclusive points, what in fact I want to specify to make the students as all-rounders. So that is the concept of this kind of Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas. And at the end, I request you to kindly participate in our interaction session, which would be highly useful to all the participants, and of course, being a presenter to me also. So with this small introduction of this particular web talk, I'm going to start my discussion on Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas, an exclusive student web talk. So let me start by sharing my content here. An exclusive web talk for students, Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas, converting challenges to opportunities amidst COVID crisis. So friends, once again, I welcome all the budding engineers, all the future leaders of India, and of course, global leaders, and all the esteemed learners from the academic institutions, industries, and several R&D organizations who are being participated in this particular student focused vector. I'm so happy that the participants are hailing from different parts of the country and different centers of excellence like IITs, NITs, and different deemed universities, autonomous colleges, and affiliated colleges, along with our own students of our host institution students. Once again, I welcome you all to this particular web talk. Friends, let me tell you first what is the preamble of this particular talk. That means what made me the reasons to host this particular talk. Friends, you all know how this particular COVID-19 has become a global pandemic almost more than 3 months. We are almost very close to 4 months that this particular pandemic is we are passing through. So because of this particular COVID-19, and we had a huge impact in the sense, not only this kind of mortality. So daily, I think we are passing through the newspapers, and of course your social media, how it is being impacted all these kind of sectors, like sectors in the sense, let us say for example, industry, economy, agriculture, every sector, and they decline to a maximum extent. And it is estimated that this kind of loss, whatever we had during this kind of 3.5 months, it is expected to take a minimum around 2 decades to regap or to get all these kind of things to reflourish in our particular situations. So that is the huge impact of this particular COVID-19. And not only the sectors, the economic sector and industrial sector, agricultural sector, service sector, not only this, even it has huge impact on politics. And then apart from this particular thing, if you look at this particular thing, and this particular impact is also had a huge focus on our educational system. That means educational institutions are not at all an exception for this particular damage as far as this particular COVID-19 is concerned. So I think now if you look at this particular thing, the students are at confusion state whether you are going to have examinations or not, whether going to have a classes restart or not. The so many things are having. That means the educational outcomes are also not an exception for this particular impact of COVID-19. So in this particular juncture, the students are at very ambiguous situations, what they are supposed to do. And of course, many of the students, like final year students and all, and they got ready for the placements or future opportunities and all. They were about to start their examinations to write. Despite all these particular aspects, what is happening actually, how it is, they are under kind of ambiguous and confusion state, how to mitigate all these things and how to reach our success. But at any cost, whatever the situations may be, we need to reach our success. So with this particular preamble and the impact of COVID-19, the educational system, the student ambiguous system, apart from all these things, to mitigate all these kind of challenges, we want our students to be reaching this kind of success zone. So that is the preamble of this particular talk. Yes, friends, let me tell you, before going in depth, whatever the 20 steps I'm going to tell you all these, and we will just look at a glance about what is education or what is engineering. That means the overall importance of education and overall importance of engineering. So let us say, for example, look at this kind of what is the purpose of education. So if you look at this kind of purpose of education, I think most of you know, just I want to recollect or remind the same thing, that education, the basic purpose of education is to get the knowledge and to make ourselves away from our ignorance. Apart from that, another important thing is not only getting knowledge, not only getting ignorance on our own, it is also important for us to disseminate the knowledge. Disseminate the knowledge in the sense, getting the knowledge and sharing the knowledge. So if you share the knowledge, then what happens actually, you will be able to make the other students also, or make the other persons also to get a kind of free from ignorance. That means the fundamental purpose of education is to get the knowledge, share the knowledge, get ourselves free from ignorance, and of course, get others to free from ignorance. That is the fundamental purpose of education. Then where we get all these things? How to get this education? Education institutions are the prime places where in fact we are getting the knowledge. But do not feel that only the education institutions are the places where you are going to get the knowledge. You can also get the knowledge outside the educational institutions. That means beyond the classrooms, there is so much we need to get, or we are having a lot of scope to get the knowledge. So for this purpose, what we have to do is, the first step we need to do self-learning approach. Self-learning approach in the sense, we need to learn on our own. That is very, very important. We need to habitude to get learn the things on our own. That is what we call self-learning. Next one, continual learning. This is another important thing. Self-learning and continual learning, these are not meant only for students, and these are common for each and every human being. These are very important. Self-learning in the sense, we need to learn on our own by using the different kinds of resources, where one of the best resources are our teachers or our educational institutions. Next one, continual learning. What is the meaning of continual learning in the sense? Let us say, for example, if you are graduated, that itself is not sufficient. We need to continue to learn the things. We need to continue to apply the things, whatever we learn. That is the meaning of continual learning. Because why in fact I'm telling you is, whatever the things we had or we already known yesterday, they may not be sufficient for us to get our survival in future. That's what, in fact, we can simply say that you are using the word like the technologies are continually getting upgraded or continually getting changed. It means to say that we need to continually upgrade ourselves. I don't mean that whatever we learned earlier is not going to be useful. These are fundamental aspects. That is the genesis based on which, in fact, we are going to get more knowledge and more upgradations in future skills, or whatever the technologies or pieces of knowledge we are going to know or we are going to learn. The fundamental aspects are our own knowledge. So you keep on learn like this. That's what we call continual learning. I just give you one important example for this particular present situation, that at this particular moment, we are having the COVID-19. So it is a huge pandemic, and thing is here, many of the humans are having this kind of what you call facing their death. It doesn't mean that we are not having viral drugs. We are not having antiviral drugs. We are having so many antiviral drugs, but they are not being sufficient for this particular COVID-19. It means to say that it is a new kind of or a novel kind of virus, for which in fact we need to have the customized drug. This is very, very important, that unless we have continual updation of this knowledge, we cannot meet at the sufficient or customized drug for this COVID-19. We are fortunate enough, and we should thank our Glenmark and we should thank our heterodrugs. They are coming with beautiful medicine for this COVID-19. And I hope that we are also going to get a vaccine very soon for this kind of COVID-19. So that is the importance of continual learning. And all these four steps are the fundamental aspects we should remember as far as education is concerned. And coming for in the same lines, I want to tell you what is engineering. So let us say, for example, what is the purpose of engineering? Let us say, for example, the fundamental purpose of engineering is to ensure that we need to provide all the kind of services or facilities for human beings to have or to lead a comfortable life. That is the fundamental purpose of engineering. Then how it is achieved? For this purpose, we need to adapt natural laws, and we need to apply these natural laws so that we can provide all these facilities. Why in fact I am using this? Everything is available in nature and all the solutions are made in nature. But only thing is what we are going to do or what we are going to imbibe and what we are going to apply. That is the only concept without disturbing the nature. So that is the fundamental concept of engineering, to provide all kind of services for comfortable leading of the life of any human beings. For the application of these kind of natural sciences, we use science, because the science is nothing but the fundamental principles of nature. We use the science, we apply the science, so that we are going to get all kind of facilities which are being provided. I don't, please do not remind that it's not our responsibility to provide the facilities, or the providing facilities it is the responsibility of government or something else. Nothing like. We the people, or the people who are working in engineering or the science or the management, these people are responsible for providing facilities. This is the fundamental understanding principle. Everybody should know that what is engineering. So friends, these are the fundamental principles we should know, we should remember, whatever we are supposed to know regarding our education, and of course engineering education. This is the fundamental purpose and the fundamental principles. Yes. Now let us see what is the actual purpose. And I already told you, to provide all the facilities, that is the purpose of engineering. Let me explain in detail what is the overall concept of providing this kind of facilities. I think you must be knowing one very important tribe principle or tribe word, like roti, kapda or makan. I think everybody must be knowing food, clothing, and accommodation. These are the fundamental principles or fundamental duties, and of course the fundamental rights that every government will have to look over, in particular India. So in this particular aspect, being an engineers, we are supposed to look over provision of nutritious food. I'm going to explain you, of course, in detail. Once I'm going all this, you will be knowing how these are all interconnected, or how these are all, in fact, being linked with our engineering principles. Providing nutritious food, it is one of the important aspects. Next one, clothing. This is another important aspect. Clothing in the sense, let us say, for example, in India, let us consider only India. We forget about other countries and all. We have different climatic conditions in different areas. And of course, we have different weather conditions in different seasons. So accordingly, we need to have different clothing. So the provision or the development of clothing adapted to different weather conditions or the climatic conditions is essential. That is one of the services. Next, proper housing. This is another important aspect. Whether you are looking at urban areas or you are looking at the rural areas, housing, the proper housing, the pakka housing is very important. The construction of houses, provision of houses for the public or in the society, either they are in urban, semi-urban, rural, this is another important aspect. Next one, provision of potable water. Water which is safe to drink. The provision of potable water is another important thing. I think why, in fact, I'm concentrating. These are all the actual problems we are facing now, and all these problems generally we can mitigate with our engineering or science or management people. The provision of potable water is another important. Next one, provision of unpolluted air. This is another important aspect that now at the moment we are unable to get this unpolluted air. So there are so many areas, in fact, kind of just like we are having the ice cream parlors and beauty parlors, in some high level cities, they are also having some sort of air parlors. So the people, in case they are just traveling for a longer time by bike or something else, They can go to that kind of parlor, they will get fresh air and all. So that means that is the problem we are facing, that we are having most polluted air, and the provision of unpolluted air is another important aspect. Next one, living conditions. What are the actual living conditions? If you are having the good food, good clothes, good houses, water to drink, and air to breathe, then obviously we are reaching at the best living conditions. And to have this kind of the best living conditions, then we need to have the comfortable life. For this comfortable life, we need to have even other things like transportation. This is very, very important, like railway, like roadway, like airway, and the corresponding arrangements like railway stations, bus stations, airports, and all other included facilities. These are all very important for transportation, where our engineering is going to play a very important role. Next one, the agriculture. And of course, agriculture is the main source of economy and the main living source in Bharat. So, but thing is, nowadays, I think many people knows that many of the farmers, they're just giving up this agriculture, and they're trying to have the migration also. The reason is they are not being satisfied with agriculture. So what best we can support this agriculture field by means of our technology to have the best yield, and of course how best this kind of the people who are in agriculture can mitigate the natural calamities or temporary calamities. That is another important aspect. The next one is communication. This is another important thing. I need not have to tell you regarding this kind of communication. We all know, of course, each and every candidate daily in the morning, they open their mobile phones. The entire globe is in our hands by means of your mobile phones. So that is the importance of communication, like smartphones, internet, everything is a part of our life. So for comfortable reaching of communication, but of course, being the people who are residing in towns and cities and all, we may not be able to face the problem with the communication, but it is not up to the mark at rural areas, where the engineering and management is going to play a vital role for providing this kind of communication. Next one, healthcare. This is another important aspect. Healthcare, you may feel that the doctors or the scientists are responsible for providing healthcare, but there is a huge demand or huge requirement of technology to support this healthcare, like in the diagnosis, like in the treatment. Everywhere the technology has a very good role. So even in recent past, we are so happy that from many of the engineering institutions like IITs, NITs, and many of the centers of excellence, or even affiliated colleges, they are coming with the generation of masks. They are coming with the testing kits for COVID. They are coming with the ventilators, and they are coming with the robotic technology-based hospital treatment facilities. So these are all the technology support, but it is not sufficient at the moment, where our engineering is being playing a very important role in healthcare also. And next, energy. This is another important thing. And before that, let me tell you the service. The service sector is also highly based on our engineering. So let me tell you, now with a small click, now we are able to get all our services like the Swiggy, the Zomato, Uber, whatnot, everything, Ola, everything we are getting. These are all the credentials for engineering. And this kind of service we need to extend to emerging state. For all these things to get done, we need energy. Energy like power. This is very, very important to get all these things to get done and to have the comfortable life. The thing is, friends, this energy we can use from natural and what you call artificial sources. So these are all the different areas actually we need to concentrate, where in particular engineering education will have to focus to general provisions. That's what in fact overall we can say that these are all the important aspects we need to consider as far as engineering education is concerned. So for these kind of things to get done, my dear friends, we can use natural resources. Like as I told you, for all these things to get done, energy is more required. and for which you can go for natural resources like sun energy, you can use the tidal power, and you can use what you call air, what you call the aqua, everything we can use, but the maximum extensive of this kind of utilization of natural sources as of now is not up to the mark. So you can get all these things by using your natural source, or of course by using our industry. That means you can generate in our industry. So for getting all these things, either by means of natural or by means of industry, and this is the fundamental purpose of our engineering education. Yes. Now we came to know what are the different engineering aspects to consider regarding this kind of services. So let us see what is the student perspective. And I do believe, I agree with that, students are very wise. They know well what they are supposed to do and what they have to do and how they need to reach their success. But thing is, now the situation has become a typical one, like because of this COVID-19 pandemic and because of its impact, now the things have a bit reversed. Like because of the economy decline and the industries, many of the industries may not be able to come forward to get all our engineering or management students to have their new incumbents for the provision of services. And at the same time, many of the students are not even in a position to write the examinations. And even after getting these examinations and getting degrees, what they are supposed to do. And this is the actual impact having. And now the students are at a different condition and situations. So this is a kind of distraction here. In this particular juncture, we need to have a separate thing like the purpose and the need for the students is to retune their skills. They need to retune their skills so that they can sustain their expectations and they can definitely get a better future. So this is the student perspective in fact. So friends, what to do now? So to mitigate such kind of pandemic situation, what we are supposed to do, that is the aspect now. For this, I suggest that each and every student should develop like a sustainable model. Please do remember, every student should be like a sustainable model. How a student can become like a model student? First thing is we need to have imbibing of technology. Whether you belong to computer science engineering, whether you belong to management, whether you belong to hardcore, whatever it may be, whatever your opted fields, you need to imbibe the technology, and you should be in a position to know how to apply this technology to develop the products or to develop the services. Then you should also see whether this particular product or service we are developing for this will be apt for a particular context or not. So that is why in the second step, you need to identify the strengths and weaknesses of your technology you learned. This is very, very important. So imbibing the technology and identification of the strength and weakness of your technology. That is the reason, my dear friends, that we are having value-added courses. What is the purpose of these value-added courses? You know, you are specific to a particular section and you will be applying this particular technology to a particular aspect, but it may not be apt to all the circumstances. So that is the reason, in case you will be getting, you will be value-added courses, you can get extra knowledge and you will be getting more sources and your technology will be slow flourish. So please identify the strength and weakness of your technology, whether it is apt to a particular context or not. Next, please identify the strengths and weakness of the derived products, services, or applications. As I already told you, by using our technology, we learned, we try to develop a product, we try to develop a service, or we try to develop an application. But thing is, whether it is apt to all the circumstances, that is another important thing is, that means we need to identify the strength and weakness of your technology, and of course the strength and weaknesses of the products or services or any kind of applications being developed by our technology. Both are very, very important, because your learned technology or your learned developed products or services, they are supposed to, or we are supposed to provide permanent solutions, but not temporary solutions. So if you simply go through your studies, get your degrees and all, it may be sufficient only for the temporary, but it may not be the permanent solution. So if you want to have a permanent solution, you should adopt these two, like the identification of strength and weakness of your, and of course the strength and weakness of your derived product, service, or an application. So this is the very, very important, and what a particular student is supposed to do. If you do all these things and if you look at these kind of things, then obviously each and every student will develop like a sustainable model or a model student. Yes, friends, I already told you just now we found what are the steps important to do all these things. But if you come for this kind of implementation process, this implementation is highly sensitive. That means our knowledge may not be sufficient, or our circumstances may not be sufficient, and our methodologies may not be sufficient. That is why I'm using the word we should be, this particular implementation is highly sensitive. That's why we should be very cautious. We should be very cautious. Unless we are cautious, unless we check whether these are all being apt or not, we cannot implement. For this reason, my dear students, whatever the three principles we need to develop is, first one is self-reliance. Self-reliance is very, very important. We need to depend on our own rather than depending on others. I don't mean that we should not depend on others. We should also depend on others, but to maximum extent, we should have our self-reliance. And if you have developed the concept of self-reliance, you will go to this kind of self-sustainment. So the self-reliance will lead to the self-sustainment. If you embodied with these two, like self-reliance and self-sustainment, then the self-empowerment you can reach the stage of self-empowerment. Self-empowerment. This is the concept, my dear students and my dear friends, the self-reliance and self-sustainment, self-empowerment. In case you get all these things, there will be no question for any kind of our future aspects. So I culminate these three as Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas. Once we are provided the self-reliance, once we are gained the self-sustainment, self-empowerment, your education or Abhyas is Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas. This is the fundamental concept that getting the self-reliance, having the self-sustainment, and trying towards the self-empowerment. And in case you are getting through your education or education period, all these three lines, that itself is Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas, and you will be a part of our Aatma-Nirbhara stage. This is the fundamental meaning I wanted to tell you what is Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas. So friends, now see how to go for this kind of Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas. I already told you we need to develop the self-reliance, self-sustainment, and self-empowerment. How can you achieve all these things? Now we'll see. I already told you, I'm going to tell you 20 important points in this kind of self-reliance, self-empowerment, and self-sustainment. That's what Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas. So first thing is, be strong at fundamentals. Be strong at fundamentals. This is a very, very important. Fundamentals in the sense, fundamental knowledge of your own domain. Whether you belong to computer science engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, whatever the area you opted or whatever the area you are going through, you should be strong at fundamentals. Because if you are strong at fundamentals, then obviously you will reach and everything. So be strong at your fundamental aspect. Next, the second one is develop domain conceptual knowledge. Develop domain conceptual knowledge. This is very, very important. Let me tell you, domain conceptual knowledge. This is very important, conceptual knowledge. I think many of the students are very strong and very good at getting good ranks, good marks, grades, everything. But once they are just coming for these future aspects, like any kind of placements or any kind of higher education and all, and their efforts are not being sufficient to what we are expecting. So the reason is the lack in the conceptual knowledge. We need to develop the concept. So your studies or your abhyas should include the gaining of conceptual knowledge rather than the rote learning. That is very, very important. So at the first, be strong at your fundamentals. Based on these fundamentals, you try to develop your concepts, your conceptual knowledge in whatever the domains you specify. Next one, acquaint with interdisciplinary areas. This is very, very important. Let us say, for example, I'm a mechanical engineer. And do not think that being a mechanical engineering graduate, it is sufficient for me to know only my mechanical engineering subjects. It's not correct, because any real problem, generally you cannot get solution with a single domain. We need to get acquaint with interdisciplinary areas or multidisciplinary areas. This is very, very important. So acquaint with interdisciplinary areas, so that though we are strong and we are well at our own subjects, our own domain, we should also have our inculcation at least to know the fundamentals of other areas. So this is the acquaintance of with interdisciplinary areas. That is very, very important. Next one, participate in interactive seminars. Participation in interactive seminars. This is very, very important. My dear participants, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. This is the interactive seminars. This is another important aspect. What is the purpose of seminar? Generally, many of the students are participating in seminars, but they may not be able to get the good outcome, or they may not be able to realize what is the purpose of this. Interactive seminars, in the sense, it doesn't mean that the seminar of your particular domain. You try to have a seminar, you try to give a seminar in any of the areas, maybe of your domain, maybe of another domain, general aspects, and as and when you are trying to give the seminars, you should try to deliver the seminars in presence of your colleagues, in presence of your teachers, seniors, any industrial experts, so that your seminar will be having a better interaction, and these interactive seminars will provide you with the best knowledge. This is another important aspect. Next one, try to get experiential learning. This is very, very important aspect, my dear students. You may be having a doubt, what is the meaning of experiential learning? During the student stage, how do we get the experience? If you have any kind of question like that, I will tell you. Experiential learning, in the sense, learning in case it is being embodied with experience, it will lead you to any kind of extent. The best way is internships in industries or social internships, whatever. The purpose is, once you go for this kind of internships, you will get the best industrial culture. That means, once you go for any kind of industry, you will have to work with a typical system. So during your study, in case you go for industries for any kind of internships, you will be knowing what is the actual culture you can face in industries, and how to have a kind of collaborative and another rapport interactions with the colleagues, seniors and all. And apart from that, you will also get in-depth knowledge once you go to internships. All these things you will get via this kind of internships, which leads to experiential learning. Now the industries are looking for the candidates with experiential learning. And at least if you look at the situations like this, at this COVID-19 constraints, what is happening actually at the COVID-19 constraints, because of this crisis and all, generally the industries or any recruiters, they will look for the students who are getting or who are having this experiential learning. So this is very, very important. Now, because of this COVID-19, I know that no industry is permitting you to for any kind of internships. And of course, the AICTE also given an order that no student should be sent to industries for any kind of internships. But now online internships are available. And by using these online internships, you can use and you can apply to any kind of industries. All the software companies and hardcore industries, they are ready to provide internships to the students online. And this is an opportunity that you can also apply for international opportunities. That means you can apply to any centers of excellence like IITs, NITs, any foreign universities. You can apply for internships. And apart from that, you can also have an access of social internships. That is very important. Suppose if you look at any kind of social service groups, group officers, or any kind of civil service people and all, and they should have more exposure to this kind of social awareness and social knowledge. So you can get the industry internships, the social internships, everything you can get where you are going to get experience in learning. This is another important thing. So coming for the 6th point, my dear students, go for diversified elective. I think, of course, whatever the university, wherever you study, you are having more number of electives, maybe starting from your 3rd year to 5th year, or for MBA also from 3rd semester to 4th semester, something like that. So you will be having the different kinds of elective subjects. So my suggestion is to go for diversified elective. Do not confine only to your own domain elective. Go beyond your domain and try to add this. One thing you please remember, unless there is an importance for that subject, they should not be included in our curriculum. Please do remember. Let us say, for example, there are so many things like entrepreneurship development or any kind of artificial intelligence and IoT. There are so many things like non-conventional energy sources. Like there are so many electives. So you please go for an elective subject which is not related to your domain area, because many of the students, they feel that because it's not belonging to our area, so that we will not be able to succeed in this particular area. Such kind of doubts will be there. Give up all these doubts and go for these diversified electives, so that you will have a kind of benchmark, starting mark at this particular level to get interdisciplinary exposure. So this is the best principle you need to adopt. Next, coming for the 7th point, more in semester gap mini projects. Try to go for as many as possible mini projects, because I think you will be having in your curriculum maybe having only one mini project. I think I'm right. And in some universities you may be having 2 mini projects, and in some universities or some institutions they may be having either mini project or internship. But do not give choice for this. Try to go for as many as possible mini projects. It gives you a lot of knowledge. Because here, what I'm telling you, of course, we are going to have, in particular BTech, we are going to have the 7 semester gaps. In MBA, 3 semester gaps. Like that, we are going to have more number of semester gaps. At least in the first year, you may not be able to know what is mini project. At least from second years, try to have at least, because you are going to have the 5 semester gaps, minimum 3 to 4 mini projects with the different areas, or with the continuity of the projects you try to adapt. That is very, very important, because it is a concept of continual learning. Because in curriculum, we have one project, our guide has told, our HOD has told, or our principal has told that you go for mini project. I completed one project. Don't confine like that. It is not sufficient for your getting sustainment. You need to go for more augmentation of knowledge, where many projects will facilitate you to get such kind of knowledge. So try to adapt more number of mini projects rather than a single mini project in a semester gap. Even 1 month mini project itself is sufficient if you are going for more number. So please adapt this kind of thing. And coming for this major project, obviously in the final year, in the final semester, you are going to have a major project. But do not confine to this particular final semester for major project. You try to start your major projects in advance. Let us say, for example, if you are having your major project to complete at 8th semester, start in 7th semester itself. That is very, very important, so that you will get ample of time. You will try to have free access. You will have the comfortable work on this kind of project, because your project you should concentrate or should look as a case of project based learning. This is very, very important. So you try to have to increase the span for major project. And another important thing is, most probably and as much as possible, you try to get a real-time project. This is very, very important. If you go for this kind of real-time projects, then obviously it will be fetching to your future, because you really enjoy what is the knowledge and you really know what you people are supposed to do in future. And the second option is, as I am continually saying, multidisciplinary project, because I already told you, even at the level of student days, if you are having this kind of development of multidisciplinary concepts, these projects will give you one of the best places of or the ideas, so that try to concentrate on multidisciplinary areas. So if you start your major project in multidisciplinary areas at the student level itself, you can excel yourself definitely for solving the real-time problems. Or next one, community-based projects. My dear friends, I cannot expect that there is no place having no problems. You try to identify problems in your own area, maybe the village, maybe the city, maybe in your house. There are so many problems. So you try to apply your technology or integrated technology to solve this kind of projects. That is what we call as community-based projects. So you can also expect, you can find Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas. It is one of the best projects or best platforms where you can excel to develop this kind of community-based projects. And of course, you may be knowing IUCE, International Indo-Universal Collaboration of Engineering Education. It is also one of the best platforms. You will be joined as a student member so that you can get exposure to these kind of things. So that if you join for IUCE, then obviously you will have better interaction with the foreign professors, foreign teachers. Then you can excel how best you can develop your projects. So these mini project and major project are going to play a very, very vital role. So try to concentrate here on this kind of mini project and major project in these lines. Yes. Next one, group activities. My dear students, whatever you want to do, try to involve in group activities. This is very, very important. This is the fundamental principle for collaborative learning and collaborative working. Whether you are working for any kind of assignment, whether you are working for any kind of simple projects or any kind of discussions, do not try to sit alone. Try to be a part of a group, try to discuss, so that your discussions will enrich your knowledge. Sharing your ideas with others and getting shared ideas from others will definitely get you the best exposure, so that this group activities is going to play very, very important. Next one, social activities. Do not get confused with the group activities and social activities. Group activities are also a part of social activities or societal activities, but the societal activities are not at all a part of these group activities. Please see that. Societal activities in the sense, let us say, for example, you may be having an NSS, you may be having an NCC. Apart from that, you may be having a kind of what you call Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. These are all some of the platforms where inculcated to promote your societal services. So if you go to adapt this kind of societal activities, you will be really exposure. You will be getting a more exposure what the problems being faced, or what actually society is in need of. That's what, in fact, I already told you in my earlier slide, like what you call community-based projects. So societal activities, if you go to a slum area, if you go to a village, and where if you go to a particular place where actually they are in need of our technology service, because now one of the important aspects I'm telling you, you people are facing mostly online education now, and mostly it is also under what you call discussions that you may be having even online examinations also. But if you look at so many areas, because of this COVID pandemic, the people who are staying in villages, they may not be able to come to the cities or come to college to write the examinations. So there is a huge problem as far as this internet connectivity is concerned. So whatever we expressed in the first slide, like the potable water, all these things, these are all the real problems what actually being faced in the society. So if you involve in societal activities, you will be knowing what you are supposed to do as far as your knowledge transformation and the knowledge application is concerned. So group activities and societal activities both are different and having some common sense, but there are different things, a purely academic and purely service. Please do apt all these things. I think I have completed 50% of my presentation. And the next thing, yes, institute development activities. This is another important thing is, I advise you to participate in any kind of developmental activities being planned by your institute or your department, because our leadership should start only from our institution. Whomever the leaders, as of now, you see, either of our Indian or at the global scenario, they must have been a very good leaders at their institute level or at other specific domains. For this, each and every institution is having its vision. To reach its vision, they are going to have a mission, and all your colleagues or head of the department or principal, they will be rigorously working to reach that particular vision. So try to take a part in that particular mission so that your institute should reach the vision. So if you really see that how our institution is growing, then obviously we will be knowing how to grow as an individual and how to take a part in the growth of the country. So please try to take a part in the institute developmental activities. Next important thing, my dear friends, physical fitness. This is another important aspect. At particular, in this particular juncture, because of this COVID-19, don't think otherwise. I feel that in many of the things, whatever it is happening actually, that many of the students are getting habituated to get late from their bed. This is one of the things we are observing. What is happening actually? So because of these things, they will be adapting a kind of lethargy. So you please give up that kind of thing, and you need to try to develop your physical fitness. That is very, very important. Once you develop your physical fitness, you will get more peace in your mind. So your mind will have the fresh ideas so that you try to get more knowledge. So that is the importance of our physical fitness. Next one, take leadership and be responsible. This is another important aspect. Leadership is very, very important, because for the sustainment or the self-growth of any individual, and there must be the strong background of leadership. If you look at any of the global leaders, they must have been having better leaders at their institute level. Leadership in the sense, we need to take self-initiate, we need to be more responsible, and we need to adapt the works so that we will become the future leaders. Leaders in the sense, do not think that we are leading the people. We are working along with the people, we are working for the people, and we will be worked by the people. All these things will be getting once you take the self-initiation and self-responsibility. So take leadership and responsibility at our institution itself. Next, try to involve in laboratory development aspects. This is very, very important. I already told you institutional development, now laboratory development. This is very, very important. What is the purpose of laboratory development in this sense? Try to involve in designing the new experiments. Let us say, for example, in your curriculum, you may be having 12 experiments. Why can't I design a 13th experiment based on my 12 experiments? Similarly, your laboratory may be having certain equipment, certain kits. Why can't I design a particular equipment? Best example, I tell you, in the recent past, in the COVID-19, and in the so many institutions, they developed some sort of what you call COVID-19 testing kits. And they developed even ventilators. And they developed even what you call this kind of sanitizing tunnels. So these are all nothing but the developmental aspects. So if situation comes like this, we are involving in the development of some important accessories. But if you are having habitude to involve in the laboratory developmental aspects right from the beginning, what would be the phase? That means you can have a vision, you can develop certain aspect so that they will be getting ready-made equipment or ready-made solutions for any kind of situation we are going to face. So please do involve in laboratory development aspects. So friends, Next one is the self-learning. Very, very important aspect. I already told you. Self-learning may be of online or offline. So this is a very important aspect, because once you adopt the concept of self-learning, you will have a kind of concept that how to acquire the knowledge. That is, you will be feeling more responsibility to gain the knowledge, and you will be feeling more responsibility to apply the knowledge. So please do involve in self-learning attitude. So it gives us more self-reliance. And it may be of online or offline. So there are so many books available with us, but online now it has been made inevitable because of these present situations, that the online learning has been made inevitable. Actually, we have a very good platforms like Swayam is there, Coursera is there, and so many foreign universities, they're simply offering the courses, something like that. This is already existed. But only thing is how best we are utilizing this is very, very important. So both on, I don't mean that online you are going to have 100% online. Obviously online learning is only the supplement to our offline learning. Offline learning should also be available, but based on the present situations we are unable to have this kind of offline learning, and we are going for this online learning. So another important thing is, if you look at this kind of Swayam, now it has become one of the biggest online platforms in world. Almost around 120 countries are being participated. The credit goes to our NITs and all, IITs and all IITs who are really involved with this development of this kind of Swayam learning activities. So be a part of online. Another important thing is, if you find a kind of interest in online, need not confine it to your teachers. You can access any of the interested subjects, any of the eminent professors or scientists available in any area in the globe. You can directly register with them, you can directly learn with them. That is a very, very important aspect. So self-learning, online learning or offline learning, these are all very, very important aspects. Next one, language development and communication improvement. Language development in the sense, I tell you here, my dear students, you should develop at least 3 languages. Everybody should be very well at 3 languages. First one is our mother language, second one is our national language, third one is international language. And I strongly believe that if any candidate or if any student is strong at their own language, it's not at all difficult to get any other kind of languages. So mother language is our like mother. And then national language. Why in fact I'm telling you the national language, being an engineering graduate or the manager, you may have to work at any ports in India. So that, of course, you may not be having any problem with your colleagues, but if you want to deal with your subordinates, if you want to deal with the class 4 and all, they may not be able to know your own language. Maybe in North India. And so obviously you need to have this kind of common national language. That is the purpose. So being an engineer or being a manager, we need to deal with so many people. So that is the reason we need to develop our national language also. Next one, international language, that is English, because it is the global communication language everybody has to learn. And of course, all our books are written only in English, so we should be fundamentally strong at this kind of language. For any kind of communication, via mails, by transmission, any kind of thing, we should be strong at international language. So mother language, national language, and international language, and they are not confined only to the things. And as many as possible languages we can acquire, we can know all these kind of languages. Let us say, for example, if you go to Tamil Nadu, so many of the people and they speak Tamil, and of course in any other areas like Orissa, something like that. So these 3 are mandate, and at your knowledge, you try to go for the other languages to improve your language. And next one, try to have special focus on English. This is another important thing, because just now I told you international language is the English, because if you look at this kind of technical concepts and all the communication we should transmit only in the English. So we need to have very strong as far as this kind of English is concerned. We need to speak and we need to talk. Please differentiate both speak and talk. That means you need to have the self-confidence on English, for which the speaking is very important. And of course, conversations and all between you and your participants or the listeners, the talking is very important. So try to have more focus on English. This is an exclusive step as far as this kind of 20 steps are concerned. Next one, increase learning span. This is very, very important. So here I'm giving like, this is the activity span and this is the contact span. That means during your learning and all, so you will be having some sort of interaction with your teachers, mentors, something like that. But here I advise you that you consider your teachers as the mentors, as your guides, or as your facilitators, but don't 100% depend on them. Try to involve in doing the activities for which in fact you should spend more. That means that is what, because your learning takes place more because of activities, not because of teaching. That is the fundamental principle of our teaching learning. Because I'm a teacher, I tell you that actual learning takes place only because of activities. It's not just because of teaching. So whatever your teachers deliver, you have to get all these points, get the knowledge, you have to apply and be involved in activities. So increase your learning span so that you will get more knowledge. And during that particular activities, you also have a kind of contact with your teachers, how to apply this. So like that, as a facilitator only, or only the guide or the mentor, you use your teachers. And it's a strong advice for this kind of increasing in learning span. Next one, in particular, many of the students as of now are from rural background. So if you look at this particular rural background students, there may be some sort of problem that, of course, it's not common to all. And at my knowledge, we come across that some of the students may feel shy. Some of the students may not take self-initiation. Because of these two, the students may not be able to get confidence. My sincere advice, my friends, you are very strong. Whatever you can do, many of the people cannot do anything. And please give up your shy. Try to initiate yourself for any kind of activities so that you will get confidence, so you will be flourish like anything. Because this is one of the important aspects. Many of the students sailing from rural background or rural area colleges, they may be strong at their technology, they may be strong at their knowledge, but they are lag in their initiation, they lag in what you call this kind of communication, and which lacks obviously their confidence. This is one of the very important aspects I want to specify for this kind of rural background students. The next one, the 20th point is soft skills. This is another important aspects. So please do remember, communications skills are a part of soft skills, and you know the soft skills and hard skills are different. You need to try to develop your soft skills. And of course, in many of the institutions, the soft skills are going to be a part as far as their curriculum is concerned. And you will be knowing, you will be getting via your trainers or teachers, whomever it may be, you are getting more soft skills. But just simply sitting in a class and learning or getting training from your trainer is not sufficient. You can gain these soft skills only because of your practice. Unless you practice, everything will go away. So keep practice to get strong as far as your soft skills are concerned. So my dear students, and these are the 20 important points I wanted to specify as far as this kind of 80% of your Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas is concerned. And as I already told you, 3 more important aspects I'm going to specify, which are various areas, which are exclusive, and these are going to play a very, very vital importance in every individual's life. First one is the social media. I need not tell you about the social media. Everybody is well aware of this social media. And of course, because of the social media, the strategy or of course, in the entire globe has been changed. All the sectors are having huge reflections or impact because of the social media. And the entire globe now has become global. So that means the global standards have become local standards. All global knowledge has become global knowledge. So, my dear friends, the social media use only as the knowledge resource, because though we are having so many aspects, so many positive things with the social media, unless we use it properly, it will be the huge distraction in our life. This is very, very important. So it is, as we have the technology, how best we use technology, we will be getting more benefits. In case there is any kind of variation in the utilization of technology, it will be the huge distraction. The social media, you please use it as a knowledge resource very confidentially. So my suggestions is, try to engage in social media at a fixed time. Try to fix a time. Do not always open your mobiles. Do not always open your charts box or mails or Facebook, Twitter, something like that. You fix a time, morning this time, afternoon this time, evening this time. During that time, whatever you are getting the information, you try to access. And of course, you are getting huge kind of things. I advise you to register for all these things. Try to have accounts among all these social media channels, and whatever the information which is useful to you, try to imbibe. If you feel that some content you are getting via the social media, to imbibe, so that you can improve your knowledge. That is the very importance of this particular thing. So imbibe and improve yourself. You can, social media can make you to improve a lot, provided you use this principle. And another important thing is that, please remember, you should get entertainment only via your education or via only your work. So whatever you are getting here, the best pieces of knowledge, you want that it is useful to you, you try to imbibe it and you try to improve. Any unwanted information, please ignore. Immediately unwanted information, you please ignore, wipe it off. Do not share to anyone. Do not share to anyone or anyone. This is very important thing. It's fundamental aspects. Engage with the social media. Importance, as per the importance, you try to imbibe and try to improve. And the unwanted things you leave over. If you do these three principles, then only your social media will be a knowledge resource. Now, social media has come to such an extent that you can get all your lectures via social media. You can meet your prime minister via social media. You can meet your union minister via social media. You can meet your teachers via social media, provided you feel that they are giving some valuable information to you, valuable sources to you. So, though we are friends or your teachers, unless we give some important information to you, what is the purpose of this social media? So, forget, neglect everyone, neglect everything in case it is not purposeful. Whatever we covered in all these 20 points, I think more than this is nothing else is required. You cover whether all these 20 are available in the social media or not, then only things. If beyond this, leave anything, nothing else will come for us. This is one of the another important aspects. Please do remember. Second, and a very, very important specialized things are CDIO policy. I think many of you, even many of the teachers, do not know about this particular thing. This is conceive, develop, implement, and operate. This is one of the important policies. Actually, it was initiated in Massachusetts University in 1990 to develop real world systems and products. The conceive, develop, implement, and operate. This is the fundamental principle of this kind of CDIO, is to stress on the engineering curriculum and engineering education to develop products or services to face the real world problems. Conceive, conceive the knowledge, develop, develop the knowledge and content, and implement, implement your practices and products, and operate your knowledge and operate your products and operate your services. That is the CDIO, which is very, very important to remember. 1 minute, please. This is conceive, develop, and implement, operate. as I already told you, the importance of CDIO is nothing but to develop real world systems and products, real world services and products. That means conceiving the knowledge, developing the knowledge, or developing the application, developing the product, implement the policies, and operate the thing. So this is the importance of CDIO and how to approach, what are the approaching ways for CDIO. If you look at this, problem-based learning is one of the important aspects to consider to CDIO. We need to identify a problem. Accordingly, we should work to develop the solution. That is the problem-based learning. We should learn with respect to a problem. Why, in fact, I'm telling you, I know that it is one of the problems that my students, our student fraternity may have to face. I feel that is a problem. I want to give a simple solution. I don't think that I'm giving 100% solution, but I want to tell you something. So that is the problem-based solution for which we need to have the problem-based learning. And the group projects, as it was already mentioned, group projects will give you the best developmental aspects. And the communication, we need to develop the communication and the professional skills. So by using the problem-based learning techniques, so group projects implementation, communication, and the professional things, these are all the different approaches by which, in fact, we can develop CDIO, one of the best practices. Everyone, I suggest you, as and when you go to your college, as and when you look at your textbook, as and when you look at your laptop, if you remember that word like CDIO, then obviously you can find and you can develop wonders. Then friends, 3 special zones: innovation, incubation and startup, research and entrepreneurship. These 3 are the very special aspects and the need of the hour in the entire world. So let me tell you, that means if any kind of candidate or the participant having well-versed with these ideas, they will get a special zone in the world as a professional. So if you look at any leader, they must have been either innovative, they must have been a very good researcher, they must have been entrepreneur. They are having a special significance in the world. So let me tell you the innovation. What is innovation? Innovation, simply I want to tell you, there is a huge meaning inside among all these 3. Even hours together, days together, I can also discuss with you, I can share with you. But simply I want to tell you, innovation is nothing but a typical process. It is nothing but an output of creativity. What is creativity if you ask? Everyone is having their creativity. Creativity is inside. But if you take out this creativity, that is nothing but innovation. How best you make our creativity to come out, we call innovation. That means the creativity is a think process and innovation is a outward process. This is innovation. So how we think differently, how we act differently, how we develop differently, that is innovation. So any innovation means something new added to the old one, something which is never existed. These are all coming under this kind of innovation. So for this, I want to tell you 5 important steps. Generate ideas. For this, you try to identify a problem. If you want to become an innovator, try to identify a problem. Then you just look at what are the actual reasons for this kind of ideas, for this kind of problem. That means, let us say, for example, COVID-19 is there. This is a problem. So you analyze how it has come. So if you analyze that, you can have an idea so that you can generate ideas to develop a solution to that particular problem. So identify the problem, try to analyze the root causes, then generate the ideas to find out the solution. And you can get so many ideas, but you have to screen your ideas. Which idea is feasible? That is very important. That means you may have so many ideas, but only some ideas will be feasible for a particular problem. Like that, you have to screen your idea. Accordingly, you try to develop a model or a solution as a kind of prototype, then test it, If you feel it okay, then try to go for business plan and commercialize, then diffuse and implement. That means we need to generate the ideas, screen our ideas, develop the prototype and testing. And for this particular thing, in case if you want to get flourish, you can incubate your innovations, you design a business plan and commercialize it. If you are succeeding, then you go for diffusion. That means how best you can make flourish in this and continually implement. So like that, if you adopt this kind of innovation, you can go for startups. This is very, very important aspect. Startups nowadays are very, very important, my dear friends. There is a huge what you call cooperation from all sectors for the people or the students coming with innovative ideas. Fortunately, today Ministry of Human Resource Development is starting program MIND, MIND, to promote the innovative ideas for the students. And this program, I think, is being um, launched by Ramesh Prokriya this afternoon. You try to go for that. You try to involve, register for that. That is very, very important. And my special suggestion, innovation is one of the important aspects. Next, another important, the same lines is research. Research meaning itself is telling research. That means searching something, searching new, searching something. That is research. If you want to develop a piece of insight knowledge on any particular concept, adopt research. This is very, very important. For which, what we have to do is we need to develop the curiosity, curiosity to know, curiosity to do. Then by having developing a concept of curiosity, then try to define a typical problem. Yes, this is a particular problem on which I want to develop some sort of insight knowledge which may be applied and which may be developed. So this is also a part of research. Even in this particular research, if you are thinking in a different way, that is what we call as innovative research. So my dear previous students, I cannot separate innovation and research, but though the concepts are different, but they are having a huge interlink with this. So develop curiosity and then define a typical problem. And then based on that particular problem on which in fact you want to carry out the research, try to go for literature survey. Try to collect the literature survey. Then once you collect the literature survey, you analyze the entire data and you also identify what is the status of that particular research on that particular area. Then immediately start action so that you will become a better and good researcher, and a good researcher will become a good scientist or a good engineer, and it will provide very, very beautiful solutions to the society, to the entire nation, and of course the global problems. And another important thing is entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, if in case if you don't want to become a job seeker, you can go for, or you can go as a job provider. That is what entrepreneur. For this, and in case you make any kind of initiate any kind of startup, that startup will help you to become a better entrepreneur. For this particular purpose, to become an entrepreneur, that means once you have an idea, once you develop that idea, once you develop a particular product, once you develop a business plan and all commercialize, then in the larger scale you can become like an entrepreneur. So for this purpose, you have to develop a vision, what I am supposed to do to become an entrepreneur. Then identify your customers. That means you have developed or designed a product. Then what are the customers, or who are the customers actually I can just commercialize my product to the customer. Like that you can identify, because unless you identify the real customers, and your entire work will become useless. So that is why you identify the customers and to whom in fact your product will be served. Then try to plan out a beautiful customer service. How can you extend your service to the customers? Then rate your work, because there may be some sort of competitors in the market. So rate yourself. What is my level of customer service? What is the capacity of my product? Something like that. Because here, what in fact I'm telling you, this particular product you need to directly, it should be useful customers in the sense that people who are really in need of your product or service, and you should reach to that. That is, they are the real customers. Then rate your mark as I was mentioning, then execute your plans. If you execute in these lines, you will become a successful entrepreneur. So my dear friends, these are the three special zones, and the whomever the people who are being inculcated towards any of these three will get global recognition and become global results. So friend, to get all these kind of things, you need an inspiration, and this is my inspiration, and a part of inspiration, like all these greatest personalities and Indian legendaries. And if you look at this, except Dr. Kalamji, and I have never known any of the other things, like our inspiring role model for teacher, role model for engineering profession, our father of nation, our courageous Patel, Swami Vivekananda, given a greatness to the India and the entire world, Dr. Abdul Kalam, who is the people's president. And in fact, I learned so much from all these kind of greatest personalities in virtual mode only, because I have no connectivity with all these kind of things, and I have never seen them anywhere except our Abdul Kalam. It means why, in fact, I am telling you that virtual learning is not the new one, and our virtual inspirers or virtual resources are already existed, and it is on the way. This online learning or any kind of virtual learning is a not new thing, but only thing is we need to sensitize our edges towards this kind of present situations. So apart from this, I have so many inspiring sources, like my teachers are there, so many administrators, so many scientists, so many professors, and some of my students, because I having an attitude to inspire from each and everyone from all the positive things we are having. So we need to have an inspiring source for getting all these things to done. So friends, I cannot say that it is being concluded. I just say that this is only the journey, and this journey is not having any kind of end. So this is the feedback link, and this journey never ends, because once we feel that it is being ended, our future will be ended, and we cannot contribute anything. So this is the feedback I give you here. You can take this feedback, and maybe before 1:30 I'm expecting the feedback to submit. And these are all my contact details. You can find me among all these my social media activities and all. And it's a great pleasure for me to give such a wonderful talk to inspire my students. And I hope you can take this one. And I think you are taking this feedback link. So this is what my friends, Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas, converting challenges to opportunities amidst COVID kindness. And be safe and let others to safe. Happy learning. And I wish you all the very best. And I hope you enjoyed this lecture. And this is only my output to do something to the students at this particular COVID crisis. Try to do adapt. And once again, I give this kind of um, feedback link here. Just I am telling this feedback link. I can share in chat box also. You can take this. And now I request you. Now I request you to start any kind of questions. You can take this. Feedback is here. I stop sharing my screen. Now, if someone is, so if someone wants to ask any questions, you can ask now.
పగిలిపోతున్నా నీకు చెప్తున్నాను. లాస్ట్ రోజు నీకు ఇది ఇప్పుడు చదివి మళ్ళీ వెనకాల సరికెత్తాను నేను ఇప్పుడు ఈ క్వశ్చన్ లా.
I get any questions? Yes, my dear students are my the chat box. This is one of the questions.
Hey.
So participants, you can share your questions on this chat box, and while you are sharing this question, I request you to please specify your name also. So I got one of the questions, sir, how can we make ourselves more focused in this lockdown as we get distracted timely by one thing or other? So it is one of the questions for which, in fact, may I know who has given this question? Please type it here. Yes, Midad Sajdat, IIT, ISM, very good question, sir. So this is the reason for which, in fact, I wanted to give this talk. The reason here, I already told you, the getting focus is that here you try to develop a kind of content in the sense, and where you got exactly the distracted. Maybe I think you may not be getting a possibility to write the examinations. Then you try to identify the questions and try to prepare the content. Or else my sincere suggestion is try to develop a kind of what you call overall seminar. That's what, in fact, I already told you, that try to arrange interactive seminars. Once you are having colleges and all, you can obviously have. Why can't you have a seminars on online mode? It's my suggestion. You have a kind of a group. That's what a group activity, my dear friend Sajad. Am I right now? You please try to have a kind of group. So in that particular group, you arrange among yourselves one subject, allocate one subject to one candidate, one subject to one candidate, something like that. You try to develop a kind of concept, and you try to arrange a seminars. So like any kind of group meetings you can have, one day one candidate, one day one candidate, one day one candidate. You can have a seminars, and also among you can also take the help of your colleagues. You can also take the help of your teachers, so that they will also assist you in doing all these things. Ask them to participate in our seminars so that they can correct. That is one of the best ways. And here I am telling you, so you also try to get account with internships. That is very, very important. This all internships are going on only online now. So you can register for your online because you are a student from IIT. And obviously, all the IITs are also offering internships for many of the students, for other college students also. You try to go for online internship, online training, and online exposure. And you try to develop a kind of blog. And in that particular blog, you try to develop whatever the content delivery you please post in that blog, and the people will also be able to see, because there are so many examples that the people who are doing excellent works in the social media and all, they are now become so many celebrities. And this is one of the techniques generally we use even film industry and all. You develop a blog, you develop a YouTube channel, and you can develop your what you call interpretations in this particular thing, and you can acquire the knowledge so that it would be helpful to you. And any specific thing, because don't feel that it's a kind of distraction. this lockdown, you please feel that it is only for safety. Do not feel that this lockdown is the breakdown. Please wave it off anything. If you have any kind of ideas in your mind, this is only the lockdown, it is not the breakdown. Okay, and suppose we are not alert at this particular medium, and then obviously this lockdown will become breakdown. So that will be the more dangerous. That is why my concept is we need to develop the self-reliance. What are the different modes we need to develop the self-reliance, which will lead to our self-sustainment and self-entertainment? I given the 23 ideas. And if you look at this kind of MSME, now so many things are happening. Like we can participate in innovation activities, and hackathons are also now going on only via this kind of online, and what you call coding contests are also going on this one, and the placements are also going on online. So you can learn online and you can apply online, so that everything will become online. I think I cleared Midat Sajid. I hope I cleared your question. You please respond again. Okay, and please forward your PPT. Definitely, maybe evening I can create my YouTube link with all these things. I can make it available, because there were so many guys from different areas because of the connectivity problem and all. Though they registered, they could not log in, and I will provide my YouTube link. And because I think you are a member in that particular our Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas WhatsApp group. This group will be available for 4 days, because whomever the participants who are given until giving this kind of certificates, this group will be available. And I will just post this link by today evening, or at least tomorrow morning, so that you can access this. So anyone else? Can I get any questions? So thank you all. I think I have taken class for more than 1.5 hours, and thanks for your patient listening. I hope I given uh, wonderful. It was one more question. It was indeed a very interesting and fruitful. Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Professor B.A. Mir, sir, thank you so much, sir, for your great acknowledgement. May I know you are from which place, sir? It's very fortunate that some of the participants are from MBA, IBM, and Microsoft also. Because though it was intended for students, and many of the faculty can also know many of the aspects, because the teachers and students or the learners should do things in a common way, or else at this particular juncture we cannot mitigate the situation. Thank you so much, sir, Professor Mir. And in case anyone else, I can wait for 3 more minutes. If no more questions, we can leave the meeting. I really thank our management, our honorable chairman, our honorable vice chairman, and technical support, our colleagues, and for their great support in making these activities. It's our wish to do some best activities during this lockdown period. And this is one of the very important aspects. And this is, I think, the first time during this lock period, I'm doing an exclusive student activity, for which I am so happy. So thank you so much for your registration, for your kind listen, and try not to imbibe only among yourselves. As I was telling earlier, try to share among your colleagues, because any particular person who is really in need of a service need to develop on their own. At the same time, need to see that others or our surrounding people should also grow along with us. So thank you so much for your kind patience, and fill the registration link. I have given the registration link. Once again, I am pasting here. So take this registration link, fill the registration link within by 1:30, because after 1:30 this link will be closed. And So this is my activity of Aatma-Nirbhara Abhyas, converting challenges to opportunities amidst COVID-19. And be safe and let others to safe. Happy learning once again. All the very best and thank you so much. Jai Hind. Bye.